going on, YouTube? Haven't been on in a while, haven't posted a video in a while. Figured I'd run through a tour of the nursery. Here we've got some, these are some seed elderberries from a breeder's mix from Experimental Farm Network. These are some serviceberry trees. I believe these are alnifolia. I got these from Twisted Tree Farm out of New York. I got some sick looking persimmons. They got really stressed in that drought. Had them in black pots over this way, more in full sun, and it just burnt the tops of them. So I'm gonna see how they respond coming out of next spring. I might plant them out at the farm somewhere. Then I got quite a bit of mulberries still, and I'm definitely gonna plant a bunch of these out at the farm somewhere. They're preferred deer browse, birds love them. They're great like silvopasture food, good like forage crop, or not forage, fodder crop for you know, goats and sheep and cattle, I believe, in like silvopasture agroforestry systems. So yeah, we'll move on to the next little spot and talk about some more plants. Through here, we've got quite a few different plants. Got a fig that I bought from Walmart not too long ago. Might actually get a fig, unsure yet, but we'll see. That is a grafted apple tree, wild oak tree that we're gonna plant out. These are all seedling hascaps, and right there, seedling hascaps. Just doing some trials, seeing how they perform here in Kentucky. Didn't have very good performance out of the serviceberry seeds this winter. If you watched my last video on the original nursery tour, I think my refrigerator didn't stay cold enough and they didn't stratify. They didn't get a long enough cold treatment. So only had 2 sprout, but I'll plant them out somewhere. And here is a pear. I believe it's a pear that we've grafted. I'm not even sure what it is. I'd imagine it's a kefir. We really like kefir pears. These are all sawtooth oaks. And then there's some native cherry trees down here, but they do not look happy being underneath all these oak trees. So that's just something to know for next time. Got a few echinacea plants that I plan to plant out. A couple aronia plants. I believe these are all just either a wild type or McKinsey / Rolling River. And then I got all these elderberry right through here. And then I got some more elderberry back in through here. And this big guy right here. The ones back there are cultivated types from Edible Acres. Named varieties, Scotia, York, and Marge. And then there's a mix. I asked for an American blend of predominantly American genetics, and I was sent those 4. This is just a really productive, vigorous growing wild type that was found close to my house. There's the okra, part of the okra project. Then we got some gooseberries. Let me get up in here and not fall through my head, fall and hang myself. Got some gooseberries there that are doing pretty well. I'm going to dig those up and propagate them around the house. Eventually move them to the farm once I got enough production going on around here. We'll move down. This is the peach zone. Peaches are looking a little sick this year. They also didn't germinate well, I guess because of cold storage issues. No big deal. I'll learn something for next time. This row of sweet potatoes. There's 4 plants here. Wow, doing a great job there, guys. And then we've got this is an everbearing mulberry variety that I'll have to dig up and be careful with once the time comes. Got a couple pin cherries right there. Aronia, and a dying currant right there. Currants are not doing so hot here. We have a lot of clay soil, and they just don't seem to like the clay. However, gooseberries seem to be doing all right, as long as they have enough shade. So some of these trials are learning me something, and I'm finding things out more and more along the way. Excuse the grass here, Pop just mowed. But on the left hand side here, we've got select pawpaw mix. A lot of it came from the KSU orchard. Some of it came from the Pawpaw Festival last year. And yeah, so these are all from select cultivars. Great tasting fruit that I myself tried before saving seed. And then there's also, these are oil nut, bitter nut hickory, or like an oil crop. If you'll see those jagged leaves there, that's what those are. The three leaves in a bunch. And then the rest of those are persimmons. Got quite a good crop of pawpaw and persimmon this year. I'm excited. We've got a few mulberries over here. These are the ones from this season. They are not looking so bright and happy, even with that rain we just got. So these are last year's mulberries. The ones that are in the pots are from the same sowing. Can you believe that? The vast amount of difference that comes from putting them in a pot for a year. A couple more cuttings back here. This is a Viking aronia. That is another service berry. Another persimmon that's pretty sick back there, and another persimmon that's pretty sick right here. And on this side of the garden, we got the okra project going. Getting a little bit bigger all the time. That's exciting. A few tomatoes and a squash. That squash probably won't produce anything. A couple more okra plants. Hopefully they'll produce. We're not sure about that either. A lot more persimmons. A couple shagbark hickories tucked in there. Down here, there's even more persimmons. There's a few oaks that I got from the farm I work at. So yeah, that's what's going on over there. And then a row of asparagus looking real sad. Hopefully we'll get that figured up. And then we got some grafted trees over there. We got one called a green pippin and a Monty's surprise. I'm really excited about those too. We'll see how. I think we plan to put those out in the orchard. Like I was saying about the gooseberries, this twiggy guy right here is a gooseberry. It gets about 8 hours of sun and it does not care for it come July. Did the same thing last year where it lost most of its leaves come July, August, and it was just done. But that also could be just a natural cycle of the plant, but I doubt it. They generally produce somewhere around June or July, so it'll be interesting to see how this particular plant turns out in the future. This plant right here is an elderberry where I get the cuttings for the wild type. I originally started by propagating it here. I take cuttings from here every year. If you'll notice, this year during the drought, even though it was in a lot of shade, the drought has left it susceptible. It's extra shaded. Like if you'll look at how much sun potential there is around here. There's some open sky there, but I feel like this guy would be much happier if it had, an extra 2 hours of sun and more water. Just is what it is. I think it would do much better if it was better placed. Nothing to do with the genetics of the tree, everything to do with location of the tree. And then tucked back here, got a few seedling pawpaws left over. They were super ugly, got burnt up. Put them back here in a deeper shade. They don't have much potential for sun back here. They get shade for the most of the day. And hopefully I plan to graft these. I went to the farmer's market in Lexington this weekend, talked to Cliff England. Really hoping that he said to come on down in the spring and he teaches people how to graft pawpaws. So I'm really hoping that I can take some of these with me and I can buy some silane wood or something from him when I'm there and be able to graft some of these over to some superior genetics. These were from fantastic trees that I bought from Mark Stadler at the Pawpaw Festival a couple years back. He has a great orchard of improved genetics, the KSU and the Peterson varieties that he sells at the Pawpaw Festival every year. So super excited about these guys and what the future holds. We'll move on down the line to my new grapevine. So there's a stick right there as a trellis, but this sucker is huge. Hope to getting some muscadine grapevine. I'm hoping I get quite a few cuttings off of that this year. Have a few more plants to put out in the landscape for future seasons. Excited to see what comes of it. Hello, mulberry. You have grown 4 foot this year, buddy. Exciting. All right. And last but not least, we have arrived at the air prune box that has the Cornus moss Cornelian cherry in it. Hoping that I've kept this damp enough for next season it to have a wealth of plants. It's my second time trying to start Cornus moss from seed. We'll see if I have any success this go around. There's a blackberry cutting project I plan to talk about in a future video. So there you have it. There's the propagation zones, what I'm growing out in the orchard, or not in the orchard, in the nursery currently. I've got a few more plants scattered around the yard, some raspberries, some blackberries, haskcaps, some other things, some comfrey plants and stuff like that that I plan to propagate from in the future. But in terms of potted plants and things in the air prune bed that are going to be leaving this site, you guys have seen what I've got. I mean, it's not a whole lot. It's very minor. It's a little backyard nursery that I, had started with the intention of doing some wildlife restoration at the farm. We have a farm that's approximately, I've showed you all in the orchard videos, but it's approximately 2 hours for us to get there from this site. And so, I mean, it's difficult to manage it all there and here. And so it's just nice to, and it's definitely hard to remember it all and keep it all straight. So it's nice to just have a video for documentation purposes and to keep track on my own thoughts, really. It's a lot going on in a year throughout the growing season, and it definitely helps. I'm assuming it's going to help whenever, winter comes around and I'm, late January, early February, planning out my season. This will be a nice little refresher for the way that the year had went previously. So yeah. In the next video, I plan to talk about a community breeding effort that I am starting up. I've got 3 people already joined. I'll have 4 growing plots to grow some stuff in next year between the 3 of us, and looking to locally adapt some varieties and select for things we find enjoyable in produce. And like the old days, back in the old days, every nook and cranny and valley and hill had their own land races, whether it be squash, bean, corn, whatever it was. They kind of had their own variety and land race. It wasn't necessarily stable in terms of shape, size, and color, but it was locally adapted, grew well there, and was highly nutrient dense. And so those are the kinds of things I'm looking for out of these projects. I've already got an okra, watermelon, squash. Well, I got an okra and pepper project that I've been keeping you all updated on. Watermelon and squash from last year that I didn't have a chance to get to this year, and I definitely plan to start some true potato seed in the future. Some just sustenance crops. It'll also be interesting to try our favorite 3 apples from seed. I'll just talk about all this in the next project. I'm already rambling. In the next video, I will talk about the community breeding effort from tree crops to vegetables. Talk to you soon.